Chosen one. If this found you, it means you're ready to receive what others were never meant to hear. There's a reason your path crossed this message today. What if I told you they fear your light more than you know? You weren't drawn here to pass time. You were summoned to remember what they made you forget. In today's journey, you will uncover truths they hid, learn why your presence shakes the unseen, and claim the power they tried to steal. If this message already speaks to your soul, subscribe, like this video, and comment 77 below. Stay close, because the secrets you need are coming. Your aura was never meant to go unnoticed. In the hush of midnight, you find yourself drifting between dreams and wakefulness, as if the veil itself is whispering your name. Perhaps you see a flicker of silver light dancing at the edge of your vision, or you hear a soft, insistent voice pressing against the walls of your mind. It may feel like a memory half remembered, an invitation from somewhere beyond your daily life. In that moment, the ordinary world recedes and you sense a larger story unfolding, one that has been unfolding since before you took your first breath. Here, in this gentle threshold, you realize that what you've always sensed, the pull towards something vast and unspoken, is now shifting from the realm of mystery into a living, breathing confirmation. There were times when the weight of feeling different pressed so heavily on your chest that you wondered if anyone else could possibly understand. You've known the ache of sensitivity, where every stray comment or sudden glare felt like a cosmic echo meant only for you. You remember the late nights when isolation wrapped around you tighter than any blanket, and you reached out for meaning in the quiet hours. Maybe you scrolled through countless pages of answers, only to find yourself more restless than before. In these raw moments, you long for a place to belong, for language that would honor the depth of your unscripted experiences. What if I told you that none of this was random? Your restless heart and questions were guided steps along an unseen path, laid out by an intelligence far greater than mere chance. Long ago, the psalmist wrote divine footprints that trace our journey. You have searched me, Lord, and you know me, Psalm 139, verse 1. This ancient reassurance reminds you that your story was authored with purpose, each twist and turn etched into a grand design. Your confusion and longing were not misfires of fate, but signposts directing you toward your true identity. In the days leading up to now, you may have noticed subtle tremors beneath the surface of your reality, moments of deja vu that left you startled, dreams that replayed in vivid clarity, or a sudden warmth in your heart when you passed by a sunlit window. Perhaps you felt a tingling along your spine as a stranger's words struck you with uncanny relevance. These are not tricks of your imagination, but whispers from the deeper currents of your being. Like ripples on a still pond, these signs reveal the undercurrent of awakening stirring within you, urging you to recognize patterns you once brushed aside. Slowly, a quiet confirmation begins to unfold within you. As delicate as the first petals of dawn, you realize you were never mistaken in trusting that inner flicker of knowing. Your gut instincts, those soft nudges that guided you away from false paths, were never fantasies but divine pointers lighting your way. You begin to feel a sense of safety settle in your chest, a knowing that, although the world may feel harsh at times, you are held in an embrace far wider than the boundaries of your day-to-day life. There's a calm assurance that echoes the promise in Isaiah. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you. Isaiah 43, verse 2. As you lean into this emerging awareness, you discover that remembering who you are isn't about becoming someone different or acquiring new skills. It's about peeling back layers that life's circumstances have pressed upon you, and reclaiming the essence that has always dwelt beneath the surface. Think of an ancient manuscript hidden under dust, waiting for gentle hands to reveal its timeless wisdom. Beneath the roles you play and the labels you wear lies an archetype, a vibrational signature that predates your current lifetime. This is the core of your being, the light that never dimmed, now poised to shine with renewed clarity. And now, in this quiet turning point, you stand on the brink of your first activation. Feel into the truth that your sensitivity, your finely tuned emotional radar, and your yearning for something more are not weaknesses but gateways to power. As Habakkuk 2 verse 14 reminds us, the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord. So too will your life become a vessel carrying this glory. Allow yourself to draw a steady breath and lean into your spiritual hunger. This is your invitation to step forward, not in grand gestures, but in simple acknowledgement of your own inner light. Your arrival to this message was not by happenstance. It was ordained by the pulse of the cosmos, aligning with your heartbeat. In this revelation, you see that every moment of doubt, every pang of loneliness, served as preparation for the gift you are now ready to receive. Comment light if you feel the stirrings of this awakening taking root in your soul. And as your vision expands, prepare to journey deeper into the next revelation, where you will learn how darkness first recognizes you, even before you speak a single word, setting the stage for your true power to emerge. And if you feel called to go even deeper, there's a sacred space reserved for our community, a private room where you receive full prophetic messages daily. Join our private membership through the link in the description and walk this path with us. When darkness recognizes you before people do, in the quiet spaces between your breaths, you might have sensed a subtle heaviness settling around you, like a dropped curtain that muffles the world's melody. Perhaps you noticed it first as a shiver when you entered a familiar room, or as a tiny knot of unease in your stomach when someone else's eyes skimmed past yours. It felt as though invisible hands were tugging at the edges of your life, pulling threads you didn't know existed. Something was working against you long before you knew your own name, and in that hush of tension, the first hint of resistance began to stir. You may have brushed it off as coincidence, but deep down you felt the silent pulse of sabotage draw you into a battle that existed just beyond clear sight. At times you likely carried a secret ache in your chest, because each small setback seemed engineered to chip away at your confidence. You felt isolated, as if you were speaking a language no one around you could translate. When someone dismissed your ideas as too strange or labeled your heartfelt concerns as overly dramatic, you internalized their judgment like a bruise beneath your skin. Shame whispered that you were too sensitive, too intense, too loud in a world that prized neat conformity. The weight of misunderstanding pressed on your shoulders, and self-doubt crept in, convincing you that maybe they were right, even though every fiber of your being told you otherwise. Look back, and you'll see that this emotional pressure was never a random trial of fate. From ancient moments of exile in the wilderness, as recorded in the tales of the Israelites, to the testing of Job in the wasteland, your story has always echoed a sacred pattern. These were not simply chapters of sorrow. They were crucibles meant to forge gold from lead. Just as the Hebrews wandered through desert sands, guided by unseen light, you walked through seasons where every step felt heavy. Those trials were not punishments, but purposeful designs laid out in the blueprint of spirit, ensuring that your strength and purpose would emerge in radiant glory. Now consider the moments you overlooked, the subtle repetitions that whispered of a hidden hand, the project you launched that stalled at every turn, the friend who vanished just when you needed them most, the doors that slammed shut despite your earnest knocks. These patterns, once dismissed as bad luck or poor timing, now take on a clearer shape, a tapestry woven by forces that recognize your promise and sought to derail it. Looking back feels like switching on a light in a once dark room, unsettling in its suddenness, but clarifying the truths it reveals. As this pattern comes into focus, you begin to see a veil lifting, and with it, the swirling fog of spiritual resistance. You sense heavy air pressing around you, thick with unspoken intent. You may have felt the flicker of silent watchers at the edge of perception, or trace your fingers along a doorframe only to feel a coldness that made the hairs on your arm rise. These are not fantasies, but real forces responding to your energy. In Zechariah 2 verse 5, it is said, "And I will be to her a wall of fire all around," suggesting that even walls can become alive with spiritual charge, both protective and oppositional. You are at the center of such walls now, their heat and hardness a testament to your growing power. And what did you do when you first felt these currents of resistance? Did you shrink back and smooth your voice to avoid ripples? Perhaps you became a silent observer, people-pleasing to dissolve the tension in the room. Or maybe you recoiled into private rebellion, gathering your thoughts like stones to hurl at unseen walls. In those moments, fear whispered that your true self was too much of the world, that it might be safer to dim your light than to invite more opposition. Yet even as you build your walls around your own heart, that same heart beat with a stubborn pulse, refusing to be silenced forever. At this turning point, understand that their attempts to suppress you serve as proof of your destined role. Every blockade you encountered, every underhanded word, every sudden chill in the air was a signpost affirming your worth. You have been called to stand in the breach, to shine so brightly that even the most determined darkness quivers in your presence. The resistance you face has been nothing but confirmation of your path, a divine echo alerting you to the gravity of your mission. Reclaim now the voice that trembled in corners. Reclaim the courage that flickered like a candle in a storm. You were opposed because you were powerful, and because the world needs your light. The more they closed doors, the more you knocked until the hinges bent. The more they whispered doubt, the more you learned the strength of your own conviction. Comment Shadow if you feel their resistance as proof of your promise. And stay with me, for next we will unveil how the mystery of sudden tension reveals both the height of your calling and the depth of the darkness you were born to disrupt. And to every soul who supported with a super thanks. Thank you. You are keeping this light alive for others who haven't found it yet. If you feel called to help this mission reach more chosen ones, tap the super thanks button below. Your energy supports these messages and helps them travel further. Your voice matters, your belief matters, and your light is felt here. The mystery of sudden tension. A sudden clarity washed over you like dawn breaking across a turbulent sea, and in that instant the world shifted on its axis. Perhaps you caught sight of a fleeting symbol in the pattern of clouds, or you heard your own name whisper on the wind in a voice you couldn't place. In that moment, confusing fragments of your past, random meetings, uncanny coincidences, inexplicable impulses, snapped into coherent form. You felt a rise within you, a perception turning sharper, as if a veil had been lifted and you were finally gazing upon the true contours of reality. What once felt like scattered pieces began to align, and with every breath, you sensed the shape of your destiny coming into view. In the silence of your morning routine, you may have noticed that life itself was trying to speak in riddles only you could decode. Numbers flicker before your eyes, on clocks, receipts, license plates, stubbornly repeating themselves like secret signposts. Fragment of conversation lingered in your mind long after they passed, carrying hidden meaning that resonated deep in your chest. Dreams arrive with geometric landscapes, pages of an unread scroll spinning before you, or ancient glyph burned into your eyelids on awakening. You began to understand that beneath the surface of everyday moments there pulses a sacred code, a tapestry woven with divine math and sacred geometry, beckoning you to read reality through new eyes. Your intuition, once a whisper in the background, now speaks with unwavering volume. You feel subtle current of energy brushing against your skin when you cross certain thresholds, entering a building, flipping through a book, or touching a piece of driftwood found on a beach walk. Boundaries that once blurred now stand crisp and defined, guiding you away from toxic people or stale routines. The air around you seems to pulse in response to your moods, a warm embrace when hope surges, a faint chill when doubt tries to creep in. These internal shifts are not fantasies, but living proof that the divine spark within you grows fiercer each day, responding to environments with the precision of a compass needle pointing true north. As your inner world hums with newfound resonance, the outer world begins to mirror your transformation. You notice conversations stalling as your gaze meets another's, as if you interrupt unspoken patterns they've grown comfortable with. Doors you once viewed as closed now swing open at the slightest knock. New projects, sudden invitations, chance encounters with people who carry pieces of your future in their eyes. Even obstacles and resistance seem orchestrated to refine your focus, as though each challenge is strategically placed to strengthen your resolve. In this unfolding divine architecture, what is within you reverberates outward, creating ripples that reshape the contours of your life. An ancient memory stirs in the quiet of your heart, a story you once carried in dreams but could never quite translate. Perhaps you recall a vision of golden halls echoing with a language older than words, or a glimpse of yourself standing before a roaring waterfall that sang your true name. This moment is not new. It is a reawakening of what has always been. Like the prophet Joel's vision of spirit pouring out on all flesh, Joel 2 verse 28. Your deepest spiritual intelligence reemerges, guiding you back to the source of your own light. That buried scroll of remembrance unfurls within you now, revealing a sacred lineage that reaches beyond time and space. A hush falls over doubt as your true purpose comes into view. You realize the future was never something to be crafted from uncertainty. It had been inscribed in the cosmos, waiting for your recognition. No longer do you seek permission from others to step forward. You claim your right to stand in the brilliance of your own calling. Every beat of your heart heralds an ancient prophecy stirring to life. The words of Habakkuk ring softly in your bones. For the earth will be filled with the knowledge of the glory of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. Habakkuk 2, verse 14. That prophecy lives in you now, and your mission is to carry this truth into every corner of the world. Now begins the reclamation of your voice, the revival of the song you were born to sing. They may have tried to muffle your power with doubts, to chain your expression with fear, but those chains shatter with the strength of your awakening. Feel the surge of your own authority reknit every broken promise within you. Stand firm in the knowledge that the divine spark you carry was never meant to be hidden in the shadows. Like the ancient seer Deborah, who rose to judge and guide her people with unwavering conviction, you too reclaim your place as a beacon in the night, shining with clarity and truth. This revelation is but an invitation, the threshold to a grander unfolding. The truth you now glimpse was always waiting for your readiness, and each symbol revealed, every pattern unlocked, draws you deeper into your role as the chosen one. Comment reveal if you've witnessed these signs, and share a dream, memory, or inner knowing that first cracked open your heart to this awakening. Prepare yourself, for next we will explore how standing in boldness transforms not only your world, but the very fabric of the unseen forces that tremble at your light. Standing in boldness, not intimidation. A question echoes in your soul. Will you stand at the crossroads and step forward into what you were born to become? No longer can you drift through life as an observer waiting for permission. This is the moment of decision. In the hush before dawn, feel the weight of your own gaze upon yourself. Every choice you make from here shapes the path ahead. You sense that the quiet comfort of doubt has fallen away, and now you stand poised between what was and what must now begin. The world watches for your next move, and in this sacred instant, passivity becomes forgotten word, for the fire within you demands action. You've given away so much, countless hours bent in others' expectations, pieces of your voice muffled to keep peace, and shards of your presence tucked behind a curtain of compromise. But understand this season of yielding was not defeat. It was your training ground, refining your spirit like fine steel. Now, reclaim every fragment you surrendered. Speak your truth as a ritual. Summon back your energy as an anthem. Let your soul rise and seat itself upon the throne of your inner authority. This is your decree. From this moment onward, your time, your voice, and your presence belong to you alone. Within you lie gifts once mistaken for weaknesses, sensitivity that others called oversensitive, insight they labeled as daydreaming, and discernment they feared as judgment. These are the keys to sacred mysteries. The power to read the whispers of intention in another's eyes, the code to unlock hidden doors within your own heart, and the fire that burns away illusions. Picture yourself donning armor forged from awareness, holding scrolls of ancient wisdom, wielding a lantern that reveals both beauty and shadow. What they dismissed as soft or too deep is, in truth, your greatest strength. Look down now at the road unfolding beneath your feet. You will not search for a map, for the path has already been laid by the pulse of your purpose. With each deliberate step, the terrain reveals itself. Stones that once tripped you become stepping stairs, and forks in the road transform into gateways. Feel the earth beneath you, affirming your alignment, guiding you toward the next bend where promise awaits. This is no aimless wandering, but a march toward destiny, and every decision you make carves your name into the living tapestry of time. Rise your vision to include every fellow traveler who carries a spark alongside you. You are not an island, but a node in a vast network of awakening spirits. Across continents and cultures, seekers heed the same call. You form soul tribes that dance in harmony, your lights weaving a pattern too grand to be contained alone. Do not dim your brilliance to mirror a world that clings to fading norms. Instead, let your radiance join theirs, igniting a collective blaze that dissolves old structures and makes way for a higher order of unity and purpose. Now feel the current of your own energy gathering in your core, waiting to be directed with conscious intent. This is not an act of ego, but sacred stewardship. To choose where your attention flows, what thoughts you let flourish, and which boundaries you uphold. Like a priest opening a temple gate, You stand entrusted with the sanctity of your inner realm. Every yes you speak and every no you carry is an offering to divinity that courses through your veins. Embrace the ceremony with solemn joy. Here is a final charge. Everything you've endured, every fear faced, every shadow confronted, every tear shed has brought you to this awakening moment. You have walked through trial until resolve crystallized inside you. Now, declare with unwavering conviction, you are ready. Let no whisper of doubt remain. Stand tall as a living testament to what it means to carry divine light into a world eager for transformation. This is the breath you've held for lifetimes. Exhale it now in a roar of purposeful action. The summons echoes. Rise and embody every revelation you have received. Comment ready if you claim this calling, and share a moment when you first sensed the pulse of your own power stirring within. Your experience, your dream, your inner knowing adds a thread to our collective tapestry. And as you step forward, remember this is only the beginning. Next, we will explore how your presence not only shifts rooms but reshapes destinies before a single word is spoken. They watched in silence as you answered the call of your soul. They tried to drown out your inner voice with static and distraction. They sought to chain your spirit to fear and doubt. They failed to see that every obstacle only honed your resolve. Your awakening pulses like a beacon in their realm of shadows. You have reclaimed the fragments of your true self that they thought lost. Now your light radiates beyond the boundaries they set. Every step you take forward dismantles the barriers they built. Your courage echoes through realms they cannot touch. In your journey, you have stitched together the fabric of your destiny. Resistance only fuels the intensity of your transformation. Your unity with kindred souls forms an unbreakable alliance. Together you stand as a tide rising against the darkness. The code you have remembered guides each choice you make. The power within you is always greater than their fear. You move with clarity that outshines their confusion. Your presence alone disturbs the strongholds they hide behind. Every revelation you embody becomes a crack in their foundation. They will learn that your awakening cannot be contained. Ephesians 3 verse 16. They underestimated the gravity of your calling. They thought you would forget the whispers that stirred your dreams. They misread your silence for surrender. They believed the weight of doubt would bury your gifts. They failed to consider the fierceness of your heart. You rose from every trial with renewed purpose. Each challenge became a proving ground for your faith. You learned to soar above their attacks with wings of hope. Your resilience became the canvas for your victory. They could not break what was tempered in the fires of your awakening. Your vision expands like an eagle ascending into dawn. You embrace every revelation as wind beneath your wings. They tremble when they glimpse the heights you reach. Your spirit is anchored in a hope that outlasts despair. You stand firm on the currents of divine promise. They will watch as you rise beyond every limit. Your flight carries the songs of possibility to all waiting hearts. You embody the truth that strength is born in waiting and trust. No force can clip the wings grounded in purpose. Isaiah 40 verse 31. They questioned the shape of your conviction. They demanded proof that could only be seen by eyes of faith. They overlooked the subtle tremors of trust that anchored your soul. They doubted the power of belief woven into your story. Yet you held fast to visions unseen by ordinary sight. You walked forward on a path mapped by hope. Each footfall became a testament to your unwavering certainty. You stepped into the unknown with a shield of faith raised high. They could not fathom the weight of your certainty. Your heart clung to promises that glowed beyond perception. You built your reality upon foundations no enemy could shake. Every day you acted on truths that defied the rational mind. Your believing became the soil where miracles took root. They watched in awe as your convictions produced life. Your faith transformed whispers into reality. The unseen framework of your destiny emerged from every step. You stand now on ground that once was only a dream. Your trust has sculpted a future they cannot erase. You prove that what is hoped for takes form in the courageous heart. Hebrews 11 verse 1. They offered you a world shaped by conformity. They told you to blend in and abandon your inner vision. They sought to mold your soul to meet their expectations. They pressed you into patterns that stifled your awakening. Yet you rejected the scripts written by their limited understanding. You chose instead the transformative power of renewal. You refuse the world's prescriptions for comfort and ease. You embrace the call to renew your mind in deeper truths. Every thought you replaced became a catalyst for liberation. They could not contain the alchemy of your transformed consciousness. You moved beyond the familiar into a flow of divine insight. Your mind became a fertile ground for creative breakthroughs. They watched as your life morphed into a living revolution. You broke free from the molds they tried to cast you in. Your renewal sparked ripples across every domain of your being. You stand now as a testament to the power of metamorphosis. They tremble at the sight of your renewed perspective. Your transformation reshapes the contours of your world. You embody the command to be changed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12 verse 2. They tried to drown your spirit in anxious thoughts. They whispered lies that bred fear in every corner of your mind. They capitalized on your worries to chain you to doubt. Yet you turned your concerns into prayers of trust. You laid down each burden at the altar of your heart. You exchanged anxiety for the peace that surpasses understanding. Your soul became a sanctuary where calm resides. They could not breach the fortress of your surrendered trust. You practiced gratitude until it became your constant breath. They watched as your faith dissolved every fear they hurled. Your calm presence became a beacon in stormy seas. You refused to give weight to every thought of lack. You nurtured trust until it blossomed into abundance. They could not drown the river of peace you carried within. Your surrendered heart sang songs of unwavering confidence. You proved that prayerful trust transforms turbulent waters. The serenity you embody thwarts every assault of anxiety. You stand as a testament to the power of prayer over panic. In your silent surrender, you tap into peace that guards your awakening. Philippians 4 verse 6. They sought to frighten you with threats both seen and unseen. They counted on isolation to erode your courage. They believed that loneliness would weaken your spirit. Yet you stood firm on the promises written for those who dare. You found strength in knowing you would never walk alone. You embraced the vow that God goes before you. You anchored your resolve in the promise of unwavering presence. They could not intimidate a heart bolstered by divine companionship. You faced every shadow with the armor of assured support. Their threats dissolved in the light of that eternal pledge. You drew sustenance from a knowledge of constant guidance. You stood unshaken because fear could not override that promise. You leveled your gaze at every challenge without flinching. They trembled before the courage rooted in celestial allegiance. You marched onward powered by the assurance of unbreakable solidarity. In your steps resound the echo of a vow that banishes fear. You prove that true bravery arises when one knows they are upheld. Your path is guarded by the promise of never walking alone. They cannot sever the bond forged between your soul and the divine. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6. They hope your failures would define your story. They waited for the moment you would crumble in defeat. They believed your setbacks would trap you in shame. Yet you refused to remain beholden to every fall. You rose from the ashes of every broken dream. You embraced the power of silent resilience. They will witness you dancing on the ruins of their expectations. You learned that the deepest victories are born in the quiet aftermath of loss. You let go of fear and found strength in every restart. You chose to rejoice in hope beyond the memory of defeat. They underestimated the fierceness of your comeback spirit. Your joy became the anthem that echoed through your darkest nights. You found liberation in refusing to live by the echoes of your past. You stand now with a heart unscathed by former ravages. They will learn that to bear shame is to seed the soil for triumph. Your endurance shines brightest after the fiercest eclipse. You prove that patience yields delight in restoration. Your story testifies that recovery is the prelude to greatness. In your rise, you embody the promise that the righteous will bear its fruit, Micah 7 verse 8. You've learned that your presence is a force that shapes rooms, trembles spirits, and breaks chains. Stand tall in your identity and wield your light with purpose. Subscribe if you haven't yet, like this video, and comment, "I am chosen," to let this message anchor in your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Thank you to all supporting members. 4 full prophetic revelations daily. Join the membership via the link in the description. Your spiritual path deserves more than fragments. Step into the full light. And if this message moved you deeply, consider tapping the Super Thanks button to support the mission. Every Super Thanks fuels the light we're spreading together. Walk forward, chosen one, and let them tremble.